Hey guys, this is Alex with SerpApi, and we're very pleased to be one of the first community-verified nodes on the n8n platform. We launched this about 2 weeks ago, along with the launch of community nodes on n8n, and we're super excited to see what you guys are going to build. But I wanted to give a little inspiration for what you could potentially build on the platform. So here I have an AI travel agent hooked up to 5 of our APIs, and in this video I'll walk through each step for how to create this AI travel agent. Let's get to building. All right, we'll start with a blank workflow like this, and we'll add our first step, which will be to receive a chat message. We can leave this all default, and then we'll add our agent by clicking the plus sign here, and then AI, and AI agent. Okay, here we're going to add a system message. It'll be pretty straightforward. I have it here on my other monitor if I can find it. And yeah, just copy paste that and then walk you through what I've done. Now, before we forget, let's switch it over to expression. This is important in order to allow this code to actually execute. So this is just super basic code that will allow our agent to know what day of the week it is, and then also the date and the time. This will be crucial for our Google Flights API later, which requires the agent to know what day it is and most importantly what year it is. So the rest of it is pretty straightforward. Feel free to customize this as you wish. I've gone with you are a friendly travel agent designed to guide users through the research and decision-making process of planning travel for either vacation or business. Okay, everything else we can leave as is, and we'll come back to our canvas. Why don't we just center everything here? So next we'll add a chat model. I'm going to go with OpenAI. Feel free to experiment with other ones. I'm sure they would work just as well, but I'll stick with OpenAI since I have it set up. So yeah, as you can see, I have some credentials here already. If you don't, go ahead and click Create New Credentials, and you'll just need to pop in your API key there. You get that from platform.openai.com. Of course, if you have one already, you can reuse it. Note that if you've generated a key before, OpenAI won't show it to you again. So if you haven't stored it, you're going to want to create a new secret key here. Just follow this basic form, and you'll get a new key that you can pop in. All right, I'll just exit out of that because we can use the one I already have. For the model, I'm going to go for the default. Feel free to adjust this as you wish. Everything else we can leave as is. Next, we'll just add some simple memory. This will allow our agent to have some more context about past messages that I've sent them, which of course will be important as we're traveling or planning some travel. And then we'll leave this default as well. And we'll move these over to make some space. Okay, next we're going to add SerpApi as a tool, but before we can do that, we actually need to install the node into our n8n workspace. So we'll go ahead and click up here, and then search for SerpApi, and do SerpApi official, and then hit install node. That'll hopefully just take a moment, and then we'll have that ready to go. Great, and then we'll come on back to our canvas here. Again, we don't have to actually add anything here. We just have to use the interface to install the node, and then we'll hit tool down here and search for SerpApi. So you'll see there's two different results. This is the old node, not built by our team, whereas this is the official tool built by us. So for this one, this is still super useful. You can definitely use it. It's a bit more truncated, so you're going to have smaller responses from our API. There's fewer custom parameters you can implement. And then lastly, it only supports standard Google search, whereas with the official tool, we support 22 different APIs. We intend to add more very soon. So we'll go ahead and click through to that, and then add to workflow. Okay, first thing you're going to want to do, if you haven't already done already, is add some credentials. I have this here already, but you can click Create New Credentials, and then you're going to want to paste in your API key here. If you don't know where your API key is, go ahead and log into your SerpApi account, navigate to API key down here under your account, and then copy paste what you have here into n8n. So we'll come back here. For the tool description, I'm going to set this manually. So this will be for standard Google search, just looking up general information. So I'll do something like use this tool to look up general information. Okay. And then for the search query, this will be just kind of what you would find on Google search as well, just whatever you could type in there. But in this case, we'll let the AI agent define that. So we'll set defined automatically by the model. Everything else we can leave as is, and we'll come on back to our canvas. All right, and then we're going to rename this because we're going to be adding a lot of SerpApi nodes, and it'll get rather confusing with the names if we just have 5 different nodes named SerpApi. Okay, why don't we just center that, or looks good already. Open chat, and we'll give it a go. So let's imagine that we're planning a family vacation to Alaska. So we'll ask our agent for a bit of advice. Look up online family-friendly vacation spots in Alaska. Okay, got a little typo. I know OpenAI would probably fix it, but I'm a perfectionist, so I'm going to fix that. And then, okay, cool. So it looks like it did use our SerpApi node as expected. We can see the search query that the agent came up with, family-friendly vacation spots in Alaska, pretty straightforward. And then you can get a little preview of some of the results that our API was able to grab. So yeah, here we go. So here's a response from OpenAI in terms of what they selected from our response, which looks like a pretty good summary. We have some top spots like Denali, Kenai Fjords, the Sea Life Center, some various beautiful spots in Alaska. Okay, looks good. So looking over our response, I like the look of Denali. Looks stunning. Why don't we go ahead and plan a trip for Denali? So we're going to want to look up hotels near Denali. In order to do that, we're going to add the Google Maps API. So we'll come in here to Tool again, search SerpApi, and do our official tool again, and add to workflow. For the description, we'll use this for looking up, let's see, use tool to look up local business information, we'll say, including hotels, restaurants, and more. And then this time we'll change the operation to Google Maps. And then the search query here, we'll just let that be defined by the model and leave everything else as is. All right, pretty straightforward. We'll go ahead and rename this to Maps. Okay, let's give this a go. So can you find hotels near Denali for us? Okay, hopefully it goes to Maps. Yeah, it went to the Maps API. We can see the query, hotels near Denali National Park. Good stuff. And then we can kind of get a preview while we're waiting for OpenAI to process the response. So you can see we get a bunch of different kind of details about each hotel or local business found on Google Maps. Most relevant to us would probably be the rating, the reviews, the price, all that good stuff. So we can see here OpenAI selected all that. Has a nice kind of little summary of a bunch of these different hotels, including the rating, reviews, price, address, also a link to the website, and then a handy little picture as well, so we can get a sense of the vibe of the hotel. Okay, this looks pretty good. All right, now we will want to be able to look up directions. So let's imagine we're driving from Anchorage Airport. So we want to know just how long it's going to take to get to some of these hotels. So we're going to go ahead and add the Google Maps Directions API. So we'll add SerpApi again, add to workflow, and then the description will do use this tool to look up directions and travel times between locations, something like that. And then for operation, we'll do Google Maps directions. And then in this case, we have a starting address and an ending address. We'll just let the model define that. And everything else will be default. And back to our canvas. Let me just center this and clean it up a little bit. And then we'll rename this to be just directions. Okay. And then why don't we pretend we're staying at this Holland America Denali Lodge. Looks nice and cozy. So we'll do, can you look up how long it will take to drive from Anchorage's airport to Denali? And then hopefully it'll use our directions API. Yep, it did. We can see it put in the starting point as Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport and the ending point as Denali National Park. We made a mistake. We said just to Denali, but we wanted to look up specifically to the hotel, didn't we? So why don't we try that again? We'll do, sorry, I meant from Anchorage's airport to Holland America Denali Lodge. Okay, let's try that. Even though it should be fairly similar, 4 hours, 8 minutes just to the park, probably be about the same. Okay, yeah, so 4 hours, 11 minutes to the actual hotel, and we can double check that again. So this time the ending point address is Holland America Denali Lodge and the full address. And it also gives us kind of a basic route overview. If we wanted the precise directions, we can then click on through to Google Maps to get that. Okay, perfect. Okay, next we're going to need a flight in order to get to Alaska, so we'll add our Google Flights API to achieve that. Look up SerpApi again, add it to the workflow, and for the description we'll do use this tool to look up flights. Okay, and then we'll switch the operation to Google Flights. And there's a lot more going on in this API as you can see. So the model's going to figure out the airport code for the departure and arrival airports, also the dates for the outbound and return flights. So we'll check all those. And then we'll give an extra challenge of figuring out the number of adults and children as well. There's a lot going on in this one, so the model does seem to mess this up sometimes. It seems to generate input that is then not supported and triggers an error. But usually if you try it 1 or 2 times, you should get a good result. Let's give this a whirl. Though actually first, why don't we rename it before we forget. We'll do flights, and then we'll give it a whirl. Look up flights from San Francisco to Anchorage on August 10th and returning on August 20th were 2 adults and 1 child. All right, let's see how it does. Okay, yeah, it looks like it hit our flights API successfully. You can see that it set everything correctly from what I can tell. SFO for the departure airport code, ANC for the arrival. We have August 10th and August 20th, 2025 for the dates, and then even got the number of adults and children. Okay, this looks pretty good to me. We have a Alaska Airlines flight, United, and then a connecting flight also on Alaska. Brilliant, looks good. Now the last thing we're going to add is the Google Images API. This is just for fun, just to get excited about the trip. So we'll add another tool, SerpApi, add it to the workflow, and for the description we'll do something like use this to look up pictures for the user. And operation, we'll switch this to Google Images, and then the search query will just be defined by our model. Back to the canvas, rename it, images, and then why don't we say, I want to get excited for the trip, look up images of mountains in Denali. All right, we'll see how that goes. Okay, our API call is processing on the SerpApi side. Okay, so the agent looked up mountains in Denali National Park. Seems like a good query, and now we're just waiting for OpenAI to process the results from our API. Here we go. Okay, let's expand this a little bit. Yeah, that looks stunningly beautiful. If only this was a real trip I was going on, and not just a hypothetical for the sake of this tutorial. But anyways, yeah, I hope this was helpful and inspirational. I'm sure you guys can come up with things that'll be way more creative and powerful than what I could possibly come up with. But this was just a kind of a little initial kind of inspiration to get you going. So yeah, let us know how this goes. Contact us as well and let us know what you build. We'd love to see the ways that you're using the SerpApi node in n8n. Have a good one.